Hello there, friends, and welcome back to more Final Fantasy VI. Last time, we got involved in playing in an opera, well, at least Celeste did, in order to get our hands on a potential airship from this man Setzer here. The plan went off without a hitch, except for the fact that two of my party members died and Ultros almost took us down. But we're not going to talk about that. Instead, we're going to be trying to focus on convincing Setzer to help us with our mission. So, let's go ahead and talk to him. Business has been awfully slow lately, thanks to the Empire. You're not the only one suffering. The Empire has been toppling towns and villages left and right. They're abusing their Magitech power and trying to take over the world. My kingdom was allied with the Empire, until recently. Maybe you want to be a slave to the Empire, but I sure don't. We're at least together in hating the Empire, right? So, please. You know, I think you may be even cuter than Maria. Huh? Alright, if Celeste becomes my wife, I'll help you. Otherwise... What? Are you crazy? Fine. Huh? Great! It's settled. On one condition. We flip this coin. If it's heads, you help us. If it's tails, I'm yours. Well, Mr. Gambler? I like it. I accept. Celeste, are you serious? If you marry that guy... Ready? Heads. I win. Now it's time for you to hold up your end of the bargain. A valuable trinket indeed. I've never seen a double-headed coin before. That coin! Edgar, don't tell me. I'm afraid you've been hustled, Mr. Gambler, but that's part of the game now, isn't it? Ha! How low can you stoop? I love it! Alright, I'll help you. Gambling against the Empire with nothing to lose but my life? I haven't felt this excited in years. My life's a chip in your pile. Ante up. I can't believe this clunky old thing can fly. You sure it'll stay in the air? When things fall, they fall. Life's a game of chance. You play your cards, and fate plays hers. They'll spot us in the air from miles away if we try to fly this thing into the Empire. We'd better land a safe distance away. That sounds like a good idea. I'll stay on board and keep the ship ready to take off at a moment's notice. But with all that doom and gloom, it's just a regular old grassland plain here. But now we are on the southern continent. There's a lot to explore here, but first things first, we're just going to head straight back into the Blackjack. We go inside, let's talk to these guys first. Oh, it's nice having guests on board again. Need a little refreshment? Sure, it's free. So we have an easy free heal here in the Blackjack, so no need to worry about inns or tents or whatnot. You can just go here and get a free heal. Welcome! And there's also an item shop here for us that sells the general commodities that you might want. but nothing too important just yet. If we go inside the main area of the Blackjack itself, we have this huge gambling area. We also have the engine room. I'm sure Setzer won't want us touching anything in here, so we're just going to go ahead and move away from that. Hello there. Need to unequip any party members. So, here we can unequip party members. We can also unequip only party members that are not actually in our party, which in this case would be Gao and Cayenne. But there's not really any reason for us to do that right now, as they are perfectly fine. I removed anything important from them already anyways. We can also go up here and talk to Setzer. What's the matter? Lost the nerve to take on the Empire? Gives us a nice little slap on the wrist there for supposedly being cowards. Doesn't really matter to us. We can also go up to the top of the Blackjack. For some reason, it's a dark void in here, despite the fact that we are above a giant grassland, but unfortunately, we can't take off ourselves without Setzer, and we're kind of stuck here on the southern continent anyways. So hopefully you didn't have any business that you wanted to attend to back beforehand. Ooh. So I think it's okay for us to just go ahead and start exploring. Here on the southern continent, there are 3 main settlements besides the Empire itself that they have conquered that I want to go ahead and check out. Starting with this first town right here. This is Albrook. Try not to talk to the Magitech armor, as it might not be in your best interest. But this town looks pretty beat up. Welcome. Eye potion, ether, eye drops. I think what I'm just gonna go ahead and not mess with any of that. We go ahead and look at the map here. We have 2 chests and 4 items to look for. Okay, this is a little off and on subject, I guess, but I want to go ahead and talk about something that was brought up to me by a real-life family member, whenever I released my videos. Welcome to Albrook, the occupied port city. So, my pronunciation of the Gestalian Empire is based on the, one of the very few official voice lines that is in English that says the name of the Gestalian Empire. There's an ether right there. I'm a scholar of ancient weaponry. 2 weapons known as the Ultima weapons were used during the War of the Magi 1,000 years ago. One was a sword whose blade formed of its wielder's strength. The other was a monster born for destruction. Ooh, we'll need to keep our eye outs for that. So it's my pronunciation is based off of a very, very rare English vocalization of the Gestalian Empire. However, the way that it is spelled and the way that I've always said it before that point was the Gestalian Empire. If I end up flip-flopping and I end up saying the Gestalian Empire at any point, I mean the Gestalian Empire. But honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if Gestalian is actually how it's supposed to be pronounced. That was one of the few things I actually didn't bother researching before working on this series, as I didn't really think it mattered all that much. But apparently one of my family members accosted me and was like, "You're saying it weird." Stuff like that. We have shurikens here. I don't know why I was thinking about buying those. We didn't have to worry about Shadow at all. In terms of the weapons there, nothing all that exciting, as again, the attack power of my characters isn't really a main priority of mine. You can find excellent weapons and armor in the shops of Zen to the north and Miranda to the west. Oh, you guys kind of selling yourselves short then, huh? Well, then again, I didn't buy anything from your weapon shop anyways. Empty. Empty. I guess the Empire kind of ran this area clean, probably. This guy. Oh, I just kind of phased through him there, didn't I? Emperor Gestalt commissioned a painting from me, but what kind of painting should I do? I don't know, maybe a dog or something. Let's walk around as Edgar. We haven't walked around as Edgar in a little while. Welcome. Twist headband, priest's mitre, mithril vest, ninja gear, and white dress. Okay, so the twist headband is the only cool thing here is the agility and stamina. Now, I already have one of these. I'm not really going to worry about them right now. The priest's mitre here is new, and it gives pretty decent magic evasion. I think I'll buy one of those, but yeah, I guess I can give it to Celeste right now, but we'll see here. Mithril Vest is a very good chest piece. I'm going to go ahead and grab 2 of these. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and grab 2 of these. Mithril Vests are always pretty good. Ninja gear. I guess Gao could benefit from one. So we'll go ahead and grab one, but I'm not really gonna worry about equipping him right now. We also have the white dress. Oh, and if you're wondering, unfortunately you cannot go back to Narsh to change your team. So hopefully you were satisfied with the team that you went into the opera with, as this will be the team you're stuck with for a little while. I study monsters. The ones on this continent seem to be exceptionally vulnerable to magic. Oh, that'll be very, very good to know. In terms of the opera house, ooh, we got some nice grooves going on here. In terms of the opera house, Gao is actually probably the best party member to bring for that, as Ultros doesn't really have that high physical defense, and Gao's cat scratch can just rip and tear through him. But again, for reasons we'll see here fairly soon, I didn't want to bring Gao or Cayenne because they would just be kind of dead weight. Now, if I could change Lockout for one of them, I definitely would have, but unfortunately I can't right now. The only thing new here in the relic shop is the amulet. A protective charm worn around the neck prevents poison, darkness, and zombie. That is pretty good. I think I'll go ahead and buy it. We have a lot of extra funds from the Veld grinding and the level grinding I did in the previous episodes, so I'll take it. Another elixir in the clock right there. Oh, it's a big party over here. All right. This is more my groove. All right. I should have had too much drink. Oh, man. Shove off. Can't you see I'm busy? I don't know. There's literally nothing on the table, dude. I guess I probably shouldn't be walking around as Edgar, or Celeste. Let's walk around as Sabin. I don't think they'll recognize him. Welcome. You look like you're having a fun time. Yeah, baby. Woohoo! You probably don't even have any money. Hey, you're not an Imperial. Get out of here. Oh, is this a big Imperial party, I guess? I like the sprite animations of these characters. It's very expressive, and I love it a lot. Sheesh, those soldiers think they own this place. Well, I mean, they've conquered your town. I guess in sort of a way they do. This pub's pretty much an Imperial clubhouse these days. Hey, well, at least you're getting business. I mean, hopefully they're paying for their drinks, but who knows? Conquered nation. Defy us and you'll regret it. We have to bribe the Imperial soldiers or they won't let us do business here. In our own city. Okay, well then yeah, that's definitely a problem now, isn't it? There's something important on the eastern edge of the continent. The Imperials built an observation post there and won't let anyone beyond it. Well, as much as I would love to be like, oh, let's go check that out, I don't think that'll be the best play, as observation posts tend to be pretty dangerous. I think the only room we have not explored is the inn, potentially. Fortunately, we're not allowed to the port here, so we can't really deal with that. Rooms are 300 gil a night. Wow, you're more expensive than Jador, and that's the city of rich folks. Man, I feel bad for these people. There are 2 items that we can't get here. I think if my notes aren't lying to me, which honestly in this playthrough, they've already lied to me like 2 or 3 times. If my notes are correct, there should be one more item that I can get my hands up. Hey, high potion. Oh, man. I was right there. But I think that's pretty much everything for us to do here. So let's go ahead and head outside. Since we are in a new continent, that means that there are also a lot of new enemies for us to deal with. So, as we walk around to the other 2 remaining major cities other than the Empire, we're going to go ahead and see if we can find them all. There are quite a few, so we're going to be busy. This is the Empire right here. We're just going to completely avoid it, and let's walk to the north here first. Wyvern and Dawn. Dawn Pianta, potentially? Let's go ahead and use auto crossbow. We'll just set up auto battle here. We're just gonna go ahead and use thunder. I mean, let's see some flying enemies. Maybe that'll work. This should be enough for auto battle. Shouldn't run into too many issues with these enemies. Rising Phoenix here is a fairly long animation, but man, is it satisfying. There's auto crossbow. Yeah, unfortunately, Edgar is a little slow. Oh, hey, Edgar learned him. Nice. Let's see if I can... Does he not have the Hermes sandals on? No, he does not. He has a hero's ring on. That's fine. I mean, he can kind of play clean up and take down the enemies that just weren't around. We do have a nice chocobo stable right here for whenever we want to maneuver around the continent a bit easier, but we're not going to worry about that just yet. We're going to go ahead and go into this town. This is Sten, or Tzen, as I would have said it in my younger years, but Zen. Let's go ahead and start with the inn here. 350? I mean, I can afford it, but jeez, old lady, you are expensive. I guess Imperial occupation doesn't come cheap, huh? I'll tell you a secret. The Empire has a weapon called the Guardian. It's immobile but ridiculously powerful. If you ever see it, run away and don't look back. Oh dear. Our royal family was slaughtered by the Empire. Well, this just took a 180, didn't it? So, back in one of the earlier episodes, we were told that the Empire was conquering nations left and right here in the southern continent. And despite what you might think, these towns may look small, but these are supposed to be depictions of entire kingdoms or nations. Zen might just be a small part of a bigger whole that we don't really get to see a lot of because of limitations of the system's hardware, or because they just didn't think it was important, or potentially the Empire just razed it to the ground. But it really... If you really begin to think about it, the Empire has conquered these nations, and if that last theory's to be correct, they've left nothing but just a few towns of what these nations originally were. And that's terrifying, you know? The Empire does not mess around, and then they indoctrinate the conquered civilians into their army, which is pretty standard practices when it comes to a conquering nation indoctrinating the people that they've conquered into their own army. We have the Bastard Sword here, which is, again, strong physical attack power boost here, but again, swords, not really my thing. We have the Boomerang here, which is a decent upgrade from the Moonring Blade, but I don't think it's worth 4,500 gil, even for just one of them, so I'm not going to worry about them here. Locke is not really going to be a major damage dealer. He's going to play healer and thief, and that's pretty much about it, so we're not going to worry about that. Defy us and you'll regret it. But I think this game, even with the limitations of the SNES, which obviously, because this is a port, they're not really going to rectify a lot of the limitations, this game does do a pretty good job of showcasing the influence and dangerous threat that the Empire really is. And this town is definitely an example of that. I mean, slaughtered royalty and doesn't even bat an eye. My grandfather once told me there's a huge gate deep inside a cave on the eastern edge of the continent. Ooh. Where's that boy of mine? I told him not to play outside. It's dangerous with all these soldiers around. You're not gonna let me into your house so I can rummage around and steal stuff? Okay, fine, whatever. Here in Sen, if we look around, there are no chests and there are no items. If you just wanted that boomerang, this is definitely time to get it. Let's go ahead and check out that armor shop, as I think that is the only thing I really haven't done here. Hello. Priest Smiter, Mithril Helm, Mithril Vest, Ninja Gear, White Dress. Okay, Mithril Helm. Extra defense and extra magic defense. Because I'm wearing the Green Beret, I'm wearing equipment that just naturally boosts other stats other than just defense. I'm not going to worry about the Mithril Helm. The Green Beret is going to carry me through a lot of this game. And also the... what does Celeste have equipped? The Magus Hat. The Magus Hat's pretty good. The Priest Smiter is also really nice, but I want that extra 5 magic stat, as that could be very useful. But there's not really anything else for us here in Zen, so we're going to go ahead and depart from it. Now, instead of taking the Chocobo here, I'm just going to go ahead and walk to the remaining town, as it might give me a chance of actually running into certain enemy encounters. Just got the exact same one. That is not what I want. I want a different encounter, please. I think this is really the point. Like, the Opera House segment, and from that point onward, usually if this game has not sold you on its story, or now the new combat system with the magicites and whatnot, then obviously you probably won't enjoy Final Fantasy VI all too much, as this is where it really begins to get good. I can tell you right now that in my first experience with Final Fantasy VI, I went into this game knowing how it ended, and because, so, to give a little bit of backstory, I don't want to go into too much as it's a kind of a long story, but, so my first experience with Final Fantasy was not Final Fantasy VI, but it was Final Fantasy IV and Final Fantasy XI. Because I was raised into a family that with parents who already played games, and Final Fantasy was a big thing that they played, and so Final Fantasy VI is still one of my father's favorite games ever, and so whenever I was young, he would play through the game and let me watch. So I knew how the game began, and I would ask him how the game finished, and he would tell me because he's got to keep his kid busy somehow, And and he was glad that his kid was, taking an interest in one of his favorite games. But so I knew how the game began, I knew how the game ended, but whenever I tried to play the game for myself, I just really couldn't get into it initially, because I just thought it was pretty boring compared to a lot of the other Final Fantasies I tried to play, like Final Fantasy X, Final Fantasy IV. I just thought this game just didn't really land as well. That is until I got to the Opera House segment, which blew me away, especially at a very young age, and also I got access to Magicite and messed around with that, and it was a lot more fun being able to kind of customize every single party member in the way that I wanted them to be. And it allowed me to kind of experiment with stuff, and I enjoyed that way more. So this was kind of the point in the game where, whenever I was first playing, I remember this segment very fondly because this is where I started really liking Final Fantasy VI. And this isn't something that, and I know this isn't something that is unique to me. There are a lot of people I've talked to who weren't big fans of Final Fantasy VI until the Magicite system came in, or the really out-of-the-blue Opera House segment kind of, swept them off their feet, or seeing that cinematic with the Empire looming in the background. It's a really cool segment. Miranda used to be the most beautiful town on this continent. Then the Empire came along. Now look at it. So yeah, we're now in Miranda. Back to reality. We're here in Miranda, which we actually do know a little bit about this city or civilization, as there was a wounded soldier from Miranda that we helped deliver letters to with his loved one back in Moblitz. So you can already tell how far Miranda is from Moblitz and how fast those birds were working. These soldiers are out of control, and there's nothing we can do about it. How long do we have to put up with this? I don't know. So we know that this is a pretty big city, and there's already someone here that we might be able to converse with. We have the Mithril Mail here, which is a higher defense, heavy armor that if you just want pure defense, you can put this on. It's very similar to the Iron Armor. Again, Mithril Helm, so nothing too interesting here. There's only one extra item that we need to find. Hello? My son was forced into the Imperial Army. Oh, I hope he comes back safe. Oh, what's going on down here? Why'd I have to get stuck guarding a town way out in the boondocks? I'll never get a promotion now. We can do anything we want in this town. Place your bets here. How else are we supposed to have fun in a backwater town like this? Yeah, get him! Fight, fight! My dog's the strongest! Oh dear, dog fighting. I don't really get the appeal of dog fighting. I mean, I know it's illegal in a lot of places for good reason, but I don't know. Maybe it means I'm normal, but I don't know. Trident, Venom, Claws, Bastard Sword, Boomerang. But again, my opinions on weapons for right now have not changed. Unless you're going for a physical attacker like Locke, weapons might not be the best idea. Unless they give you, bonus stats or have extra elemental properties, I would say skip them. Zen and Albrook were invaded by the Empire too. Yes, they were. We've already seen them. Let's go up here and say hello to you. He sent me the book he'd been reading. I've been reading a little bit every night before bed. I'll treasure it forever. So if you remember back in Moblitz, we were talking to this girl here. So it's good to know that our letters not only reached her, but that she's keeping that book by her side to remember the wounded soldier that's currently in Moblitz. Hopefully, by the time this is all over, they can get together and be perfectly okay. He won't stop asking me to marry him. I show my love. This is a ring around the rosy right here. There's a remedy. That's the last item we need here in Miranda. Go ahead and give you a head start there, lady. There you go. Get an extra tile of distance between you. In terms of anything else here to find in Miranda, there really isn't much. Miranda is a pretty small town, all things considered. So, yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. So let's go ahead and head outside. In terms of other locations, there's a Chocobo stable right down here, somewhere. Oh, we got a Lit War chicken. That's a interesting name, but they definitely are chickens. I mean, look at the head of the sprite. There are a lot of enemies that we have to find around here, so I might just kind of walk around in circles in a little bit here to try and find them all. But if I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna go back to the blackjack, so I have a free healing option. There's Sabin with stamina +1. I guess I should be moving the Espers over while they level up. Who is the next to level up? Edgar? I guess I could give him... I mean, Kate C is probably not a bad option. Yeah, I guess I'll keep him on that. Where is this state? There it is. It's right in the middle of the woods. There we go. Of course it's right in the middle of the woods. Go ahead and take a Chocobo ride back over to the Blackjack, as there technically is one more major location that we could look at. There really isn't much to do there right now, but I mean, if you want a early bestiary enemies, or just want it to be a yellow marker on your overworld map, then you can go ahead and check it out now. But it's this little piece of land right over here, east of, that was what, Albrook? So we can disembark here. It is the outpost. It's the Imperial outpost that we heard about. If you're going to go in here, I would suggest you save. After saving, let's go ahead and poke our heads inside. Imperial Observation Post. I would suggest whatever you do, try not to interact with any of the NPCs. Just try to be a little sneaky. I guess I should be locked right now, because it's more of his thing. Unfortunately, this is locked, but we can see that this is... Ooh, there's a lot of loot in there. If only Locke knew how to pick blocks. Okay, that was not intentional, but now that I've said it, that's pretty funny. Unfortunately, there really isn't much else for us to do, and if we touch one of the enemies, it creates a bit of a problem here. So we're gonna just try to deal with them in the most discreet way possible by setting them on fire and burning them alive. And also throwing boomerangs at them. They have high physical defense, as we can see here. So magic is going to be our main priority with dealing with these sergeants. Thankfully, that magic is very potent against them. Edgar got the magic +1 there. These enemies drop tents, which is pretty useful. Once you finish a battle, whether you whether you win or not, if you flee as well, you'll be thrown out of the area. And I mean, you can enter back in if you want, but it isn't really in my best interest to do that right now. The enemies that you can get in there for the bestiary, you can get later down the road. But for right now, I'm not going to worry about that. Instead, I think I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this video by trying to find the remaining bestiary enemies and seeing how well that goes. We got Bug and Fossil Dragon. I think that's new enemies. Let's hope so. I got Zombied right there with Locke. That puts his HP at 0, and he kind of goes rogue a little bit. The way that you can fix that is by using Holy Water. The aspects of Zombie are a little unique. One big thing is that it doesn't go away after combat. Honestly, what I would suggest you do, especially around here, is just go back into the Blackjack and get some nice beverages. Now, I'm not going to turn it down. I'm going to use it. Thank you very much. And that'll fully heal us, and we can go back out into the fray and deal with the enemies there. Alright, so I think I grabbed them all. There's only a few enemies here. There's about 6 or 7 out in the overworld that you can deal with. Of course, there are more of the observation posts, but again, I'm not going to worry about that. But we saw 3 new conquered nations. That's probably not something to be too positive about, but We got to learn a little bit more about the Empire and where we currently are. And we have a clear way into the Imperial capital, where hopefully we might find the Espers. So, next time on Final Fantasy VI, with our preparations now have been made, we're going to be heading straight into the Imperial capital. So, with that said, I'll see you soon.